Okay, so we're going to talk now a little bit about driving innovation in clean tech. We just heard, actually, a very interesting portion of Mike's talk about how clean tech needs to be embedded, I would say. We've got very little time, so I'm going to rush through this, so do forgive me. But tell us a little bit, if you will, about how 3M is approaching clean tech solutions and how you offer them to your customers.
Yes, good morning, all of you. And Mike mentioned decarbonized energy, so it will come today this morning. And there's many technologies ready, and that's the good news of this morning for me and listening to Mike and how we can cope with the challenge. So to answer your question, Lucy, I mean, you may know 3M for these kind of things, you know, these 3M Post-it notes. The good news is we don't do only that. Otherwise, maybe you will not invite me. But we do three things, how to develop clean tech. First, we are a global company, so it's interesting to be a bit everywhere. We are in 110 countries, so it allows you to listen to what are the issues in these different countries. And the second point is science. 3M is a company which is 120 years old, from Minneapolis. You can hear I'm not coming from there, but we are actually all connecting a lot. And when I say science, we have up to 49 platforms, platforms of different components, for example, ceramics, films, adhesives, sensors. And the intellectual property is shared by all of them. Nobody owns it. So it's very important that that's how you will create innovation, by fostering, you know, collaboration. One thing I want to leave with you also, when I joined this company, what is interesting is 15%, 1/5, of your time as a researcher can be used for any research you want to do. So you want to work on, and that's how Post-it notes have been discovered it's by mistake. So it's how we'll go to clean tech, obviously, because 3M is also very involved in the energy sector, transportation. So we work a lot with the automotive OEM, we work a lot with the aerospace, with Airbus, for example. We work with utilities, with National Grid. I see National Grid here as one of our partners in the UK. So with working with them, fostering discussion, you develop clean tech or solutions for clean techs.
And how do you work on the energy transition specifically? So how do you support your customers with the energy transition?
Yes, that's why I like Mike's, I will say slides. I will not use slides. It seems to be dangerous to do so. Use Post-it notes. But what is interesting is I'm amazed by the fossil fuel number he showed us. The good news is we work a lot, 3M, on the decarbonized energy. So renewable energy, you know, if you use films, we use films, for example, to protect the blades of the offshore wind blades. Because, of course, with the salt, you have to protect them. We do solar films. If you do films, you can do them for scotch tapes, but you can do or decline them also for solar films. We work a lot now on grid. The grid, you need sensors. You know, cable, electricity is nice, but it's a bit dull. So you need actually digitalization so to make it intelligent. And we do these sensors which help the utilities like National Grid to actually know, to have data points to integrate renewable energy on the grid. That's what happened in Spain recently. The issue is they did not have, there are different factors, but one of them were that it's in terms of technology. We work with data centers, some companies like Microsoft. We help them to have more efficient data centers in terms of energy consumption, because indeed we have to try to reduce the demand, and also on water. Carbon capture, hydrogen, these are the two others where we are also. We work, I mean, I don't know, Lucy, you know iridium, what it is?
Do I know? Say
Iridium.
No.
Okay, it's a rare earth. It's something very rare.
So I hear about rare earths a lot.
Yeah, you do, and that's good. And the idea is to use as less as possible. Well, at 3M, we have developed a called nanostructured powder. I pass you the details, which allows you to use less, and it protects the water electrolyzers when you do the when you break to create hydrogen, you know, from H2O. So these kind of things, we are diverse, and we work with all the, I will say, energy players.
Okay, this is fascinating. I'm learning a lot from this. But let me ask you, so let's talk about the energy transition. So if we think the ingredients, we've got things like resilience in the grid, sustainable, scalable energy solutions, all these key enablers, but that's not all within something that you can do. You can innovate, you can bring new products through. But what can governments do to support the energy transition?
It's a very good question. As all of you, we are in many conferences. Certainly, we hear many times the same thing. Well, okay, I was 2 days ago in Germany, and we had the Chancellor, Merz. And what is interesting, all the players around the table was the same thing. I noted on my Post-it notes, because for you to be sure I'm accurate. Permits. Permits is coming every time. When you want to build your house, we have the same issue. We have to have a permit. The same if you want to set up a data center, if you want to have a semiconductor manufacturing big hub. So we need to accelerate the administrative process for getting permits. Sometimes it was 2 to 5 years to get permits, so it's very long. So I noted that from the players. The second big, enabler or barriers, how you want it, is certainly the infrastructure, the grid, for example. We want to electrify, but when some of us have an electric car, we have an EV. The problem, you realize how much time you need to go to find, when you can recharge your car. So that's where we need infrastructure. So the grid for electrification and also the infrastructure for EVs development. The last one is money. There is a lot of money, but we need to be sure the money is going to the right place. So I think we need to put incentives. 3M, we don't need money, but it's more customers, like some I mentioned before, who need maybe to have some incentives to go towards the decarbonized solutions, which are often more expensive. So we need to cope with that.
It's good to know you don't need money. That's good for you. I'm liking the product placement of the Post-its. So what do you think are the sort of main sort of barriers and enablers too? Why not look at enablers to scaling and accelerating clean tech across the market?
Actually, I was answering a bit on the enablers and barriers just now, but you mentioned government. I think government has a real role. Many of us have been in government. I have been in government. It's always interesting to see the two sides. But what I wanted to share with you is when I was in Germany here 2 days ago, and in Brussels we have a big EU Sustainable Energy Week. I'm sure some of you were there 2 weeks ago. And the 3 keywords on the needs are cooperation. It seems a bit dull, but I realize every day, and many of us, that there's still sometimes a hesitation between the public sector to try to the private sector. We understand that very well. You don't want conflict of interest, but we need to foster these forums of discussion. It's necessary because when I was on the side of government, I did not understand how technology was functioning and vice versa. So we need to stimulate that cooperation. Secondly, simplification. In the UK, and we'll not enter into politics, of course, because we are apolitical, but on the continent, in Europe, there's a lot of legislation. As 3M, we think it's great to have legislation because when you have good legislation, you know how to get organized. So you need them. But today, maybe we have done too many regulations and sometimes they are inconsistent. So I think what was interesting in Germany, and I will be in Paris next week, and I'm sure they will say the same thing, is let's try to have consistent legislation. We all agree on the goals, but let's have more consistency. And the last one is execution. There's a lot of, I would say, hot air everywhere. I think Mike referred that to before. Let's execute. So it means let's put that in action. We will not solve. There is not, a silver bullet. It's just let's have this mix of technologies to solve the issues.
Okay. Well, finally, on that note, what's coming up for 3M? What are you doing next?
Well, what we are doing next is. Especially if you think at the geopolitics of today, is to stay the course. That's I said to the team, I am a member of the operating committee for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. You see, so it's a broad region. You have on paper what we hear every day, all of us, many challenges. I will not be overwhelmed by that. We said to our team, continue. We are here for 120 years. Luckily, we'll be there in 4 years or in 12 years, whatever happens on the other side of the ocean. And as Mike said, it's more global. So we need to continue the course. For us is to develop technologies, clean tech, to serve our partners, customers, but governments and ultimately citizens.
I'm afraid we're out of time because I could talk to you all day. It's so fascinating. But thank you. You're the perfect person to speak and answering many of the challenges that Mike brought up. So it's the perfect kind of sequence for me. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a lot of information in a very short time. We really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, please say thank you to Maxime Bureau from 3M. Thank you so much.